Hello everybody, welcome back to my podcast. This is the second episode in a series of how to become financially wealthy, and this episode is how to think rich, because you have to think rich before you become financially rich. So I'm going to start off with a story about how I went through these changes and who influenced me to think the way I do today. When I was younger, I would always sort of dream big about where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to develop video game consoles. I always sort of would dream about things that I wanted to be later in life. But of course, there was judgment and criticism that would kind of keep me in the same area. But after visiting my grandpa in Washington, he basically showed me how he spoke to strangers and how he was able to connect with them on a level that I never even saw before. Whenever we were on the street, he would sort of just talk to anyone who walked past us and not even say hi sometimes, would even say a joke in the beginning to try to spark up a conversation with another person. Not only that, but he would also have no insecurities towards talking about any of the things he wanted to discuss, such as his diet, which actually consisted of basically just fish, meat, and potatoes. He thinks that tacos are weird and spaghetti is gross, but instead of calling it a weakness, he would always think of it as something that was just odd to his personality. This type of mentality is exactly what I want you to do. After the visit with my grandpa, I started to implement his ideas into my everyday life. I would say hi to strangers, and most of the time they would just look at me like as if I was weird, but it wouldn't matter. And I started to embrace literally everything that was thought of as weird for me. This is why at my high school, people who don't know me call me the suit or the Nazi kid. And the best part is, the more interesting you are, the more people talk about you and the more people that know you. If you want to become rich, have more networks, being weird is just one of the many things that can definitely boost you up there. If there's a reason, good or bad, that somebody would talk about you, they probably will. And as the old saying goes, any publicity is good publicity. The next thing to do to think rich is have a growth mindset. Most people don't think they can do something. They'll say, I can't do that. They put a ceiling on the potential of what they can do, basically called a fixed mindset. This is a psychological thing, but it has nothing to do with that. Let's keep moving. The growth mindset is exactly the mindset I want you to follow. Growth mindset believes that if you think you can do it, it most likely will happen. So if you put your mind to think that you can do something and put in the hard work, it most likely will happen. It's called believing in yourself, and it's what most people don't do, which is terrible. Most people respect others more than themselves, and they respect other people's judgment more. Meaning that you're not controlling your own thoughts, you're letting someone else control it for you. Most people have fixed mindsets and they're going to drag you down every step of the way. The next thing you should do is burn a few bridges. I'm serious. Cut the relationships of the people in your life that are dragging you down. This could be your mother, your father, your friends, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, anyone. You should value yourself to the point that if they're not going to treat you with the respect that you believe you deserve, you got to cut them off. This might suck, but do you think any rich person hangs around people that talk shit about them? No. The next part has become deaf to criticism. Now, when you're on your multiple projects you're pursuing, like starting new businesses or connecting with new people, you're going to get a lot of shit from people that you already know. It's because they have never done it, and it's because they think that you're going to fail. The best thing to do is to stay deaf, ignore their bullshit, and keep moving forward as if nothing happened. The best thing to know is that everybody who criticizes another person is not doing better than them, they're doing worse than them. You'll be laughing at them when your life is great and their life has not changed in the last 10 years. The next thing you gotta do is to keep a smile. A smile goes a long way and no one knows how it works. When you meet a new person, shake their hand and give them a smile. It's the easiest thing you can do. Not only will the people already around you like you more, but people you've never met will gravitate a lot more towards you because of your attitude. You also have to remember that nothing will ruin you. You will be alive tomorrow. Most people think that minuscule things can ultimately ruin their life, and that's exactly how I was a year ago. But since then, I kind of just let my life go on autopilot, work on the things that I like to do, and good things have come out of it. This can mean things like being late for school. Sometimes back then, I would get up very late, which would instantly get my heart pumping. I was incredibly scared, like nervous. But nowadays, when I wake up too late for school, I sort of just shrug it off, get my shit together, and go to school. It's not as scary anymore because I don't give it so much importance. If I miss 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 30 minutes of the first class, it doesn't fucking matter. One of the best ways to combat being mad or irritated at little things is to set serious big goals. These goals will allow you to not worry as much about the small things in life because you're set on the long haul. You're set on what you'll be like in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years. This will in turn give you more patience and let you become wiser. Now, once you're already halfway there, one of the biggest things that you are not supposed to do is that you're not supposed to quit. You can restart, you can readjust, you can reevaluate, but never, ever quit. People will often quit before they even start, which ruins their path to success. The biggest issue that comes out of this is that it ruins their confidence, and they give advice to other people that it just doesn't work. Like, you can't invest in the stock market. What if you lose all your money? You can't invest in real estate. Your tenants will be calling you at 2 a.m. asking for a repair. You can't start a business. It's too risky. The issue with these people is that they never actually fully tried. In the back of their mind, they kept saying it couldn't be done. So what they did was they reinforced that by not succeeding. This goes back to a story that I read in The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. By the way, an amazing book. If you want to check that out, I guess I'll have a link in the description for you. In the beginning of this book, it speaks of the Australian John Landy, who made numerous attempts to completing the 4-minute mile, which by that time has never been done. Every single time over the next 10 years, he would be proven wrong many, many times. Then a man named Roger Bannister tried to complete the 4-minute mile. He was never trained or specialized in running the 4-minute mile before this. He would go out at his free time and train as much as he could to try to complete this 4-minute mile. He did so May 6, 1954, completing it in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. Now, do you remember that John Landy from Australia? He beat his score 2 months later. There is no coincidence. After John Landy knew it could be broken, he finally broke it again. What you need to understand is the mindset. Before people become successful and rich, they first become successful and rich in their mind. So instead of saying and reinforcing the myth that it cannot be done, I want you to question, how can it be done? The last thing I want you to do, as the closing of this podcast, is I want you to get started now. It takes a lot longer to do this than to do anything else. I believe that it would take someone years, even decades, to try to master emotion this way. But once you do this, you are completely unstoppable. Once you know your own path, you're focused, and no one can deter you or try to ruin you, you are in a blissful moment. Your life becomes easier, played more like a game than actual real life. So thank you all very much for listening to the podcast. If you have a question, please put it down below. Any question can be turned into a podcast so that I can, in detail, give you my take on it. I'm definitely not the best at understanding everything, but I can help you on where exactly to look. Again, thank you very much for listening, and have a good one.